So I'm here with Landon, excuse me, of the Arkansas eTraveler, who is definitely a frequent flyer here on Out of Spec Bits. I think you've been on 3, maybe 4 times. I'm not sure. This might be the 4th, if I remember correctly, Landon. So I'm not going to ask you to go over your entire lineage of EV history, but if people are unaware of your YouTube channel, if you could at least let us know where we could find you on YouTube.
Sure. First, thanks again, Walter, for having me on. This is my 3rd trip with Out of Spec Bits, and you can find my channel on YouTube, the Arkansas eTraveler, also on X at the Ark eTraveler, and just really going through a lot right now on that channel as it relates to Walmart because business has picked up.
And one thing I do think is worth mentioning that the Walmart project is a nationwide project, but they're headquartered in your neck of the woods. So you actually live close to where all this activity is hailing out of. Is that okay?
Right over there.
Where are you located?
Bentonville, Arkansas.
Oh, you are in Bentonville. Okay.
Yes. So that is obviously the home office location for both Walmart and Sam's Club. The efforts that I follow from Walmart Energy, they are clustered around the nation from what I've gathered. They have some people here. They have some people in the Bay Area, and then a couple of lone wolves around the country as well. So I'm in fairly close proximity to their work as it relates to market testing and things like that. So I typically get a little bit of a head start or a first notice on some of these things just by being in close proximity.
Yeah, so for anyone who has not subscribed to Landon's channel, please go over and subscribe. The episodes are very full of data, and if you're looking for an accurate way of tracking the Walmart DC fast charging project, there's no better source than Landon's Arkansas eTraveler channel. Everyone will attest to it who is currently a subscriber. So please, everyone, go over and subscribe. But sir, I had you on because it's been a while since we've had an update over here on this side, and I know the regular updates come out of the Arkansas eTraveler, but I thought we might be able to put it into perspective a little bit what's going on with the Walmart EV charging project. And typically what I've found, having done this for a couple of years now, is CPOs generally quiet down during the wintertime, just because the sheer physics of ground being frozen and difficult to backhoe your conduit in the ground, and just many other things. The holidays obviously interfere to some extent with the scheduling. And so I have seen also this year most CPOs kind of take a breather. And so during the past, 3-4 months of the heart of the winter that we have just come through, and a lot of the areas of the country really got socked in pretty heavy with the storms and everything. Has there been a similar type of slowdown with Walmart?
Well, I'll throw some numbers at you and let you be the judge. So August was the last time that you and I spoke together on Out of Spec Bits. And at the time, we mentioned that there were 11 states that were either open, had locations spotted under construction, or we had found permitting. There were 7 locations that were in fact open, 10 were under construction or coming soon, and 73 of them were found in permitting. As of today, there are now 34 states as opposed to 11.
Most of the states, more states have it than not, then apparently.
At this point, that is correct, and they did it very quickly. Now there are 24 locations open, as opposed to 7 in August. 85 locations coming soon from Walmart Energy. That was as opposed to 10 last time we spoke. And now, thanks to a very vibrant and energetic community of spotters, Alejandro EV66, Ben, he's mentioned on my channel a lot, Don at EV Texans, more, 180 have been found in permitting. So to focus that in on winter activity, 81 locations have been announced as coming soon since winter began, and I'm qualifying, December 20th as winter beginning.
Yeah, for sure.
42 locations have been spotted under construction since winter began. 13 locations have opened since winter began. which comprises half of the network as it stands right now. January and February are both tied for their most productive months as far as opening locations, with 5 during each month. So you tell me, does that qualify as a winter slowdown? Because I'm seeing a winter speed up.
Yeah. So actually, I would almost, I mean, I'm speculating at this point, but I would almost wonder if this is the slow point of their ramp up, and what we're actually going to see is once spring happens, things really go bedlam and break loose, and crazy activity happening. But still very interesting to see that headway is still being made through the dark and cold nights of winter in the Walmart EV charging, because there are a lot of CPOs that have definitely taken a bit of a pause, except for like areas in California and a few other spaces that have seen an unusual increase in activity. And it's nice to see that Walmart is part of that crew that's still forging ahead. Definitely a lot of eyes on this project. And I have been watching your episode. Go ahead.
I was just like, again, we're talking about 81 locations that they've said we're releasing them very, very soon. And in order to do that, they would have to work through winter. 42 of them, just over half, we have eyes on construction. And those eyes have also taken pictures of, snow on the ground and subprime conditions as well. But they've pushed through it. It's not just a select market. We're gonna work in Florida while it's chilly everywhere else. We're gonna work in Texas while it's cold and snowy everywhere else. No, we've got construction in Colorado. We've got it in the Chicagoland area, the Pacific Northwest, your neck of the woods.
Yeah, the one closest to me, actually, the closest supercenter to me has got the construction that was going right through the middle of winter also, like you say. And they seem to have hit a pause button just because they're waiting either on switchgear or some kind of connection to the transformer. The transformer is there. They're just waiting for the final hookups. But that one looks ready to go, as you say.
Yeah. And y'all saw just the craziest snowstorm that the Carolinas have seen. And
it was fun. Decades.
Yeah. So they pushed through it.
And as I mentioned, I do watch your videos with regularity. And
thank you.
What I've been seeing from watching your videos, you can tell me if I'm mischaracterizing, that the stations that are opening and under construction are not, how do I say this? Uniform is the wrong word, but it seems like there's a lot of variability in how they're putting these stalls on their property, where they're putting them on their property, and the number of stalls on their property. Is that a fair assessment of what you're saying? And also, if that's the case, why would you, we're kind of looking at this from the outside, but you would probably know better than anyone if there's reasons for certain super centers to get more stalls than others, and different form factors of the outlay of the stalls and whatnot.
Okay, so I'll start with the numbers. 8 stalls is by far the most common number.
That's a big station right there. 8 stalls for a neighborhood. I don't know if we'd call it a grocery store, a big grocery store, is a big box store. 8 stalls is a pretty significant number.
Right. And we're seeing 8 stalls at both super centers, neighborhood markets. We've seen it in the plans for their other store, the Division 1 stores. It's just, that is at least a minimum, it seems. If they can't build 8 at a location, they find another location, is what seems to be happening. Anecdotally, an example of that would be in the DFW, 15 original sites were listed. 13 of them are now open, and one remains, maybe it's 12 remain open, but one of them is kind of held up in some urban forestry, something or another that Don and EV Texans can explain better than I can. But there was one in Arlington at a super center there that's right across from AT&T Stadium, Jerry World. And it is a small parking lot for a super center. And it seems to me that they've kind of let that one go. But as you'll see later, they've more than made up for it. because later I'm going to share some permits with your audience that my audience doesn't know about yet. So stay tuned on that. It seems like they are able to pivot if something doesn't work out to meet that minimum of 8 stalls. There have been 4 locations in the DFW that have 12 stalls. And they just span on as far as the eye can see in the parking lot. And as to why they do this, just from how I've been able to communicate with people in Bentonville who have worked for Walmart in the past or have a strong connection through a third party or something, Walmart is inundated with data scientists. They have people whose job it is to look at raw, unfiltered, objective data and figure out what is the best path forward for, in this case, Walmart Energy and Walmart EV charging.
Yeah, you don't become the number one retailer if you're not able to be nimble and react to different market conditions like that, like you say.
Right. So everything that's allowed them to become Fortune 1, those resources are also being utilized by Walmart EV charging. So some of the factors that determine this: parking lot size. Most people think that a supercenter, large parking lot. Well, like I just talked about, in Arlington, that wasn't necessarily true. If you look at major metropolitan areas, East Coast cities, especially in the Northeast, those are very densely packed areas that may not have too many Walmarts to begin with in their city limits. So they'll have smaller form factors. They may not be viable for 8 stalls, and so they'll go somewhere else. There are definitely some utility provider considerations that have to go into this, and the ability to support 8, 12, even 16 stalls we've seen in out in California, Oklahoma City. We've seen 16 stalls there. So there's a huge consortium of minds that give this team all of the data that they need to make a good assessment of what can go where. And so on top of all of that, the anticipated utilization that they arrive at is probably their number one their number one signal for what they can build. And obviously they're not looking at 2026. They might be looking at 2030, 2032, somewhere in there. Because we've also seen in a lot of these plans that expansion at these sites is built in. We've looked at like plans for circuit breakers inside of the
that's interesting.
switchgear. And these plans inside of the switchgear will have breakers for future expansion. So that's really, really encouraging, but it also shows a lot of precision. And one other thing, when you're Walmart, you don't have to cram as many cars as possible into one parking lot and create a traffic nightmare or a bottleneck or whatever. You can probably, especially in metropolitan areas, go a couple miles down the road and build another station there. And now you've evenly dispersed the traffic and created a better experience.
So they got ubiquity and build out already in a metropolitan area. So they got space to spread out to. Gotcha.
Correct. So they don't have to just, pile them all into one parking lot. They can spread out. We've seen that in Tampa, DFW. It looks like Chicago might follow that form factor. Jacksonville, certainly. Once they get started there, you will see that play out quite a bit. Miami is really starting to get into that type of construction and permitting pattern as well.
Yeah, my wife was recently at an Electrify America station on Interstate 95 over the weekend, and it was congested. And actually, Wes from out of Spec was there doing a refuel and getting ready to do, I think, Solterra down to 0. And he got yelled at because he went to 100%. He was talking about it on the video. And as you say, trying to build in future proofing from the get-go, I'm sure they've got a number, and it sounds like that number is 8 for a base number for a given. So if you go below that, they don't want to create, there are times where a Walmart parking lot is going to be more full than not, during the holidays and whatnot. And so having people icing stalls and potentially causing EV drivers who are trying to refuel not be able to get into. I'm sure they've thought that through. So it sounds like we are in good hands. It's definitely going to be nice once this thing actually gets lit. We are able to step back and take a look at the trajectory and everything. That's why I love watching your episodes. One other source of information I got was from Steve at Plug and Play EV. He does a weekly newsletter called the EVI News. So if anyone wants, you can go to subscribe to that. And in this past week, he was talking about time of use rates coming to the Walmart EV charging network. And I'm sure you're already aware of this, but this is where I learned of it from. And it looks like from what is being reported here, let me just blow this up a little bit bigger. It goes down to 30 cents per kilowatt hour in the off hours, in the graveyard shift there. And comes back up during the peak hours and then drops back down again. Do we know anything about this potential program that they're experimenting with?
Experimenting, I think, is the absolutely correct word. We've seen it in DFW only. Although store 4108 in Springdale just reopened from going from beta to a full location, and it's available there, which was kind of surprising to me. You know, time of use wasn't necessarily smiled upon in Arkansas circles for electric co-ops and Entergy and everything for quite a while, but in recent years they've allowed it. And so, yeah, we first noticed this back in November, I want to say, and it was only at 1 or 2 stations at the time. But as of right now, again, 9 locations are utilizing intraday time of use pricing. Again, 8 in DFW and 1 in Springdale. A couple of patterns have emerged here. Off-peak hours are usually 10 p.m. to 8 a.m. And there's some variability in that from station to station, but it's normally within, an hour delta either way. But what's most interesting is those discounts are averaging 36% off. That's pretty good. So I really like the use of time of use by Walmart because, what's their mantra? Everyday low price. They do everything that they can to give you a low price whenever it's able to be done. In this case, with electrical rates and things like that. We know that depending on where you are in the country, it can get rather steep. But they do seem to be committed, and they are working in DFW right now because Encore and all of the subsidiaries within there that are competing with each other for your money as a homeowner or as a commercial property owner, they can take advantage of that. And so we're seeing a 36% discount on average at these locations. And if you have Walmart Plus, you get a 10% discount that can compound onto that.
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
So you're looking at a pretty decent rate for your off-peak hours. I would say if you are in an area that doesn't have it yet, I would just keep an eye on it. I have a feeling that, again, this is a geographic pilot test experiment to see how well it goes, how well their software is able to work with it, to see what the interest is. Is this, is this something that brings in more traffic when, the store is getting ready to close, or is it more when it's getting ready to open? Because, between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m., you can get discounted electrons while shopping at a very quiet hour of the day. So.
Breakfast, because what I see on my way into work is the superchargers that I pass by, or the charging stations also generally have people fueling up prior to going to work in the day. And if there's one next to a Starbucks, that is a very busy Starbucks. So I would imagine, on your way into work, stop by at a Alpitronic HYC 400 at a Walmart, get some super fast electrons piped into your car and run inside and see if there's some kind of breakfast you could rustle up on the inside or something.
Yeah. And again, with the Walmart Plus, we're seeing that right now in DFW, Phoenix, and now Northwest Arkansas. Again, that feels like, hey, we're feeling this out. We're seeing what the interest is here. So the time of use price the Walmart Plus discount that we're seeing again in the DFW and in Northwest Arkansas, I expect it to spread to other areas, Oklahoma, Florida, location in Alabama just came online. Phoenix would benefit from this if it were able to happen out there. So just, I say always keep an eye on the Walmart app to see what pricing looks like at your location. And probably as we get further into this project, we will have a baseline of what we can expect in terms of time of use discount, Walmart Plus discount, along with how their charging rates line up with competitors in the market.
Yeah, or if it's just completely variable, dependent on the electricity that's being supplied or some other factor. So it is definitely going to be, I'm dying to see what it's going to be like here in Concord, North Carolina. Once they light that one and open it, I'll be there probably day one, day two, because I pass by it with regularity. But just
and I
for
want to make sure that I got this right. Time of use, it's not available yet in Phoenix, but it's not. But the Walmart Plus discount is. Sometimes I get these discounts mixed up in my mind, so I just want to make sure
I get it
clear.
And just for fun, as we venture into 2026, we're already in the third month of 2026. If you had to put a number in a prediction for the number of open stations come the end of 2026, and right now you said we're at 20. I thought it was
open,
like 20.
We have about 26 already open.
26 currently open. So what do you think that number will be on the opposite side of Christmas, if you had to venture a guess right now?
All right, so I can build a mathematic formula here for the number that I'll give, and any number of things can change it that I can't.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not holding you to. I'm just kind of curious what.
Yeah. What I'm seeing is with 24 to 26 open, depends on when you see this. We have 88 coming soon, and we have 160 what I call bona fide permits. Some of what I include come from press releases saying, hey, we're going to add EV charging when we upgrade the store or something like that. What I would call 160 bona fide permits. We're also at a rate right now of batting 500, meaning that of the number or the locations that they say are coming soon, we've found about half of them, right, in permitting through Alejandro, Ben, myself, Don, the community. So if you add those up, I think it would be fair to say that we could have 300 open by the end of the year with another 100 being constructed at the time.
Dang. Yeah, they definitely have means, motive, and opportunity. It'll be interesting to see if the execution actually occurs like we think might well. And I don't think you're at all out of the ballpark. I think that's very realistic, considering they were talking about the goal of, what was it, 30,000 by the, I forgot the number.
I don't think they ever said a number exactly, but what they touted was that they could reach 90% of America within 10 miles. Okay. So as to how many that is, we don't know. But from looking at the data,
point will be the manufacturers getting the chargers in the hands of Walmart and actually on property, but we'll see. I know they definitely have bank in order to fund this effort. And sir, you're talking about additional information in order for your upcoming episode. If you want, the floor is yours.
Oh, sure. Yes. So last time I was here, we were able to reveal some of the upcoming permits. I figured it would be fun to kind of do that again. Thanks to Alejandro EV66, we know that 2 more locations are coming to Georgia. Lawrenceville, Georgia will be getting 2 new locations at Supercenter 3388 and Supercenter 548 along US 29. Don, he found something really interesting. Remember, I mentioned that Arlington location that didn't quite make it through. But we were able to find where they just replaced it with 3 other locations in Arlington, thanks to Don. So
Take one away, add 3.
Yeah. Don found another location at a neighborhood market in Plano, so that'll be 3 or 4 for just the city of Plano as well. But I'm working on a few details on this one, so I'll have an update very soon, depending on when this comes out. But I'll have an update very soon that's going to include finally the state of Louisiana. So a lot of people have been asking about the Deep South down there. They just opened in Wetumpka, Alabama, and now we have something in Louisiana. I just need to work with it a little bit, and I'll share mainly pronunciation. I'll work with it a little bit and work on my Cajun French to pronounce this place, and you can look forward to that on my next episode of the Arkansas eTraveler.
Well, Landon, I can't tell you how thankful we are in the community for your efforts. Much appreciated. Again, if anyone has not gone to Landon's channel to subscribe, please do so. The updates are regular and very relevant and chock full of data. Landon from the Arkansas eTraveler, thanks you so much for coming down to Spec Bets.
Thank you for having me again, Walter.